Isabelle Litzler, Pleiade HC, the place to be to develop your skills and grow your potential. So today's video is to help you with the question, tell me about yourself. This is something that makes job seekers quite nervous because it's actually, what is it that you put in there? Are you going back to your life story, from when you were in high school? Are you going back to your first experience? People don't really know what to put in there. So the first tip I want to give you on that, tell me about yourself, is to have a pitch prepared. So you want to have a general sense of what you're going to say, but you also want to adapt to the person in front of you. So the big mistake that people make is to have something that's a bit too vague. So if you're applying, for example, for an international organization like the UN and you're talking about your experiences in the private sector, they're going to lose interest quickly. So you want to make sure that you use whatever you have in your resume that's connected to the company. So if you have 5 years, for example, at the UN and 7 years in a private sector, I know it's longer the time you were in private sector, but try to put an emphasis on the UN experience or the international organization experience. So this is something I work on with individuals when we do the private sessions one-to-one. I really work with you to develop a pitch that makes sense and also help you on how to adapt it to the individual in front of you. So we'll work on your pitch for your interview together so that you know what to put in there to sell yourself to the person, to the recruiter. So I've had very good results with this method by really having a customized pitch. I had one person who had a job immediately after she presented herself using this pitch because she adapted her speech. Before, she was always declined because her pitch didn't speak to the recruiter, so it didn't make sense for them. And the minute she made that switch, where she really customized it to the recruiter and the organization, she had the job offer. So this is possible. For what I'm saying is that this is something you could do too, but you just need a little bit of practice, maybe with a professional, to help you get that right. So number one is have a prepared pitch and customize it. Number two is look at the interviewer when you're in an interview and they're asking this question. Look at them, see if you're losing them. So if you start speaking too much, which everyone does, and I've recruited a lot of people in my life, everyone talks too much. Remember that it's mostly listening. You can be much more successful in business or in an interview when you listen to the person in front of you, because then you can adapt better to what they want. So if you're always speaking about everything and then they will probably play with their pen or start looking at their notes, it's too late. You've probably lost them. So you want to make sure that you catch, from the very beginning, look at their eyes, look at what they're doing. If you see they're roaming around, it's not a good news for you. So learn to adapt yourself to the interviewer in front of you. Again, if you're not very good at that, or if you think you need help, contact at Pleiade HC and we organize a one-to-one session and I'll make sure to help you on that. Number three is insist on the items relevant to the company. So if you've had a particular experience, maybe even if it's a long time ago, but that's very connected to this company or this international organization, you should raise it. So even if you think it's not a big project, because it's connected to what the company is doing, it is something you want to mention. So it's not so much mentioning, something, for example, that you did recently because it's recent, but it's mentioning what makes sense. So I'm an international organization working in the health sector, for example. I want to hear health stuff. I don't want to hear stuff that you did, for private sector, even if it's 1 year ago. I'm more interested in what you know in my field. So insist on those items, when you have the interview and raise them during the question, tell me about yourself. So that's it for today. I will talk to you soon. Thanks.